Have you ever noticed how much energy you spend trying not to be in the way? You squeeze yourself into the corner of the lift. You apologize when somebody bumps into you. It's this unconscious habit of making yourself smaller and less visible, as if you are trying to take up less space in the world.
And that physical habit doesn't just stop with your body, it bleeds into your whole life. You start shrinking your opinions in meetings, you quiet your own voice in a conversation, you put your own needs on the back burner because it feels easier than demanding more. You're living life on mute, basically.
As certified personal trainers, we've seen countless people come to us believing the answer is to literally get smaller. The fitness industry has told us for years that confidence is found at the bottom of the scale or in a smaller dress size. We've all been there, chasing a number, hoping that it would unlock a feeling.
But what if the path to feeling powerful wasn't just about shrinking at all? What if the secret to finding your voice, taking up space, and finally living life in full color was about building undeniable strength? It starts with a decision to pick up something heavy and refuse to be small any longer.
Feeling like a background character is a quiet epidemic. It's the sense that you are a passenger and not the pilot. It's that habit of shrinking in social situations or letting your voice get swallowed in a meeting or just nodding along to plans you absolutely hate because disagreeing just feels too heavy.
It's walking into brunch and immediately asking your friends if your outfit is okay because you don't trust your own reflection. Imagine just walking in, sitting down, and existing without needing that external seal of approval all the time.
Yeah, and this is basically life on autopilot. It shows up in thousands of tiny ways, and it's endless doom scrolling, watching curated highlight reels, or feeling that weird mix of envy and paralysis. And you see people launching businesses, people are traveling the world, and people are just speaking their minds freely, and a little voice whispers that could never be me, is what you tell yourself, you know?
Yeah, it's the hesitation before you speak, the self censoring of your own thoughts because you've already decided they aren't valuable enough. This isn't about being an introvert or an extrovert, it's about personal agency. It's the feeling that your story is written for you, not by you.
And the plot moves forward, but your role is always the same. The supportive friend, the agreeable employee, the one who just goes with the flow. You become a sponge for other people's energy and their drama as well, but you really generate your own. You a plot device in someone else's movie.
And the toll of this is huge. It's a slow motion erosion of your self worth. You start to actually believe the story that you're just not the kind of person who leads, who creates, or
Sorry.
commands a room. You also accept less than you deserve in relationships and in your career because you don't feel like you have the strength to demand more.
Yeah. And that passivity becomes a self fulfilling prophecy. The less you act, the less capable you actually feel. And the less capable you feel, the less you act. It's a vicious
Yeah.
cycle that leaves you feeling completely hollow and powerless. It's the deep, aching sense that you are not the protagonist of your own life.
Yeah, and for most of us, the turning point isn't some big cinematic epiphany. It's a quiet, almost reluctant decision. It's the moment we walk into the gym, not to get a six pack, but because we desperately need to feel in control of one single thing. And we've been here, D.
100%. And it becomes less about aesthetics and more about agency. And it's the decision to pick up something heavy or to do that run or just to see if you can. This is the part that sounds backward. We don't walk into the weight room to build a better body, we walk in to build a better self.
Yeah, and the goal might sound like fitness. I want to get stronger, but underneath it is a much deeper desire to rewrite the script of your life. The decision to lift a weight is a physical choice that says, I will no longer be passive.
Like, if you think about it, in a life full of things that you can't control the economy, you can't control your boss's mood or people like your colleagues at work's mood and other people's opinions. These are things you can't control. But the gym is a sanctuary of certainty. That barbell is an honest partner, and it doesn't care about your insecurities or how you feel on a specific day. It only responds to the work that you choose to put in.
Yes, and 8 kilos is 8 kilos. When you lift it, you prove something fundamental to yourself. Your actions can create a real measurable result. You did a thing and it worked.
And this first step is the most important plot point in your news story. It's the moment the background character does something for themselves and by themselves. It's an act of defiance against the inertia that's been running your life.
Yeah, it's not about the weight on the bar. We know this. It's about the decision to put your hands on it in the first place. You are quite literally taking matters into your own hands. This isn't just about exercise, it's reclaiming your narrative and being in control. You are choosing to be the force that acts rather than the object that
Yes.
is acted upon. This is the first scene of your movie, the one where the protagonist finally starts to move.
Yes. At first, when you start a fitness journey, it feels purely physical. Your muscles are sore, the movements are awkward, you don't know what the heck you're doing. You just focused on the form so that you can get it right and the breathing and then getting through the workout. But then something starts to shift. The biggest changes you realize aren't happening in the mirror, actually, they are happening in between your ears, which is right here in your head.
This is where you discover the three pillars of main character energy, all forged in the weight room. First is the earned, not given philosophy. The confidence you get from lifting is unlike any other. It can't be bought or inherited. It can't be given to you through likes on social media or empty praise. It must be earned. And that's why you can only respect someone that has a great body composition, because there's no way they can walk into a store and go buy that body or get someone to go to the gym for them and then get the gains. If you see someone with a really good body structure or body composition, you just know that this is a hard working person that is dedicated to themselves.
Yeah, for sure. And this comes through with literally every single rep that you do, every single set that you do, every day that you show up for yourself when you would rather stay at home. That is you putting in the work. And this kind of confidence has deep, deep roots because it's built on your own discipline. And because you built it, no one can ever take that away from you. And this is a difference between feeling good because someone complimented your shirt or feeling good because you deadlifted that weight that you never
Yeah.
thought was possible. One of those things are fleeting and external, and the other is permanent and internal. There's a massive
Yeah.
difference between them.
Yeah, for sure. And this leads to the confidence deposit analogy. Think of your self worth as a bank account. For years, you've been letting things make withdrawals. A critical comment, a social rejection, a professional setback, each one depleting your bank account.
And honestly, weightlifting flips the script because every single workout is a deposit. Showing up for yourself when you are unmotivated, it's a deposit. Finishing that last grinding rep that you had to dig out of your soul, massive deposit. Adding on 5 kgs onto a bar and then lifting it, that's a massive account swelling deposit.
Yeah.
You are not just building muscle, you are building a deep reserve of self belief and making and keeping the promises to yourself. And the more promises you keep, the more you trust yourself. And soon you will have a surplus of confidence that when life inevitably makes a withdrawal, it barely makes a dent because you've made so many deposits.
Yeah, for sure. And finally, there's the most profound lesson: voluntarily versus involuntarily hardship. Life is, of course, going to throw challenges at you, like Donaé just mentioned: a difficult boss, a sudden illness, a painful breakup. They are involuntary hardships. They can happen to you and they can make you feel weak and victimized.
Yeah, but the gym, however, offers a voluntary struggle. You choose to walk up to that heavy barbell. You choose that discomfort by consistently facing the voluntary hardships. You are training your mind to be resilient. You are teaching yourself on a deep neurological level how to handle struggle.
And lifting weights doesn't make life's problems disappear. That would be great, but it doesn't work that way. What it does is it changes your relationship with them. You see hardship as a challenge to be met, not a sign to retreat. This process builds mental toughness by physically and neurologically enhancing your resilience, helping to lower stress hormones like cortisol over time, and while boosting your mood and enhancing endorphins. You've been training for this. And I just want to mention as well, if you are pregnant, do not stop doing strength training. I swear to you,
Preach, babes.
the mental resilience that you build up during weight training, you're gonna need that shit when you're busy pushing that baby out. You are gonna need it. And there's so much studies that are linked to women that strength train during their pregnancy. They are just able to withstand the trials and errors of giving birth so much better in the labor room. So don't stop doing your strength training, mamas.
I think that is so beautiful what you just said. I don't think I've ever heard anybody ever say that. Like, people are always talking about training and whatever so that you can bounce back or keeping your strength or whatever the case may be. But I think that that is the most beautiful reason to continue weight training, actually, is like, wow, I've never ever thought of that and nobody's ever mentioned that. So I hope that you ladies are listening to Mama Zoe because she just gave you some good value. She really did. So you're probably asking yourself, what is this main character energy? Because I'm sure that we've seen this all over, it girl, hot girl, this, main character, this. And honestly, it's really not about being the loudest person in the room or performing for some imaginary camera. It's really not arrogance. True main character energy is agency.
Yes, like we mentioned last week, it's quiet, unshakable internal knowledge that you are the author of your own story. It's the shift from life happens to me to I happen to life. It's the calm of self reassurance. You carry that into any room that you step into, knowing your sense of self isn't up for negotiation. No matter what happens in that room, you are going to walk out there with your dignity and your pride.
Yeah, 100%. And you also get to a point where you stop asking yourself for permission to take up space because you know that your presence has value. There's so much power in that. And honestly, people notice your energy. It's the first thing that people see in anybody, actually. And it's not because you are seeking attention, but because your self possession is tangible. This new energy completely reframes how you interact with the world, especially with boundaries. This is such a powerful one, is boundaries. Like, I think that honestly, the resilience at lifting weights or moving your body, or even, it doesn't even have to be lifting weights, but just pushing yourself, breaking
Yeah,
that mental barrier, showing up for yourself, telling yourself, I can do one more, just one more, just one more. And then
yeah,
you do that one more. You're going to be like, bro, you're not going to tell me. This is my boundary,
yeah,
or I'm struggling with this, but I'm going to take it because I
yeah.
can, like,
I'm just
man.
thinking now, like, after I did the video of me hanging on the bar, the Cardi B,
Oh,
singing
yeah,
to
yeah,
Cardi
yeah.
B, another friend of mine messaged me and she was like, you should do the Kid Cudi Maui challenge. So basically,
Yeah.
you hanging on the bar only with your one arm this time while singing along to the song. And I tried it, I did
And
not succeed for the full version of the song. And then I came home and I told Andy, I was like, oh, I'm so mad. Like, I couldn't do it because I could monkey ball and all that crap. I was telling him, like, we were doing hectic outdoor fitness stuff
yeah, we
in Cape
were.
Town and I could monkey ball like proper. So I
Yeah.
said, I'm feeling so weak compared to how I felt, but I'm also feeling so strong compared to post pregnancy, like I have continuously tried to push my boundaries. So don't stop pushing your boundaries. It's so important that when you feel comfortable in a place, you try to elevate and you try to move to the next level. Because if you think about our history as humans, life was not easy for us. We were running from animals, we were chasing for our food, we were doing all of these things. Our lives are too comfortable right now. And the gym gives you an opportunity to create some safe discomfort. And it's important to be a little bit uncomfortable because when you're too
100%.
comfortable all the time, you just don't grow as a person. And before saying no, this might feel super duper scary. I know this. But you'd agree to do things that drained you just to keep the peace. But when you spend months building physical strength, you start to value your own emotional fortitude. You realize your hard work and you realize you work too damn hard on yourself to let people treat you poorly. Saying no to a fourth night out isn't mean, it's protecting your self investment. Setting boundaries becomes a non negotiable. Act on your self respect.
Yeah. And honestly, this is probably a very difficult thing because if you are like me, I'm a people pleaser. I hate conflict. I'm just going to go with it. Cool, whatever. And the way that I take this is that I pushed myself in the gym to a certain point of breaking boundaries and building confidence and whatever. So if I'm uncomfortable with something, I can take it. It's not going to make me feel that uncomfortable. This is the wiring of my brain. So that's the flip side actually to this, where you can actually stand up for yourself and you can say no and you do have the boundaries. But there's also the other side to it where you feel like you are strong enough to take it. I am resilient enough to take it. So it's okay until
Yeah.
it's not okay. Do you know what I mean? And this also gives you some sort of confidence, whether it's on the one side of the script or the other side of the script. And this type of confidence can show up in your social or your professional life as well. And you start speaking your mind in meetings, you voice your opinion, not to dominate the conversation, but because you believe that your perspective is valuable, and you
Yeah.
learn from progressive overload in the gym, adding a little bit of weight every week. That small, consistent effort leads to massive growth. And when you apply that same logic to your career or your skills, you automatically stop shrinking yourself and you start engaging.
Yeah. Now, ladies or gents, this does not mean that you are going to become fearless and superwoman or a superhero. You will still fail a lift, and you'll still have days where you fail at something in life, and that is so normal. However, the difference is going to be your response. The gym teaches you that failure isn't a verdict, it's data. It shows you where you're weak and where you need to work on. So you rest, you recover, and you try again. This resilience is the core of main character energy. It's knowing that no matter what happens, you have the strength to face it, the grit to endure it, and the power to write the next chapter yourself.
100%. I think that there's a lot of things that you learn in the gym that you can apply to your life. So many things. And I always say this to people, the basics of everything, it's the same. Everything is the same. Everything requires an input, a process, and an output. Everything requires structure. Everything requires routine. Everything requires consistency. Everything requires progressive overload. But somehow along the way, we forget that. And then it starts to feel like the gap between feeling like a background character and becoming the protagonist can seem so massive and so far from one another. You don't know how you're going to get from the one to the next, But
Yeah.
every great story does really start with a tiny, small action. And you don't need to have a fancy trainer or an expensive online coaching subscription or expensive gear. You just need to write that first scene. Input, process, output. Input. Very important.
And here are 3 simple, non intimidating steps to start that you can start this week. First is to master one bodyweight move. Forget the weights for a second. Start with the one tool you already have, your body. Pick one movement, a push up, a squat, or a plank. Your only goal for the first week is to learn good form. Watch a few YouTube videos, film yourself, and focus on the quality of the motion. Focus on the tempo. This isn't about reps, it's about learning to control your body with intention. Time under tension is always going to help you to perfect your form.
And the second one is to pick one day and just show up. Just show up on the day. Doesn't sound like much. Don't commit to 5 days a week and be like, I'm going to shoot for the moon so I can land among the stars. Find one 45-minute slot in your calendar and make that day a non-negotiable. This is an appointment with yourself. Imagine you made an appointment with your lash tech or your nail girl. You wouldn't have disappointed them. So why are you
Yeah,
disappointing yourself? Show up for yourself.
yeah.
It's an appointment. Put it in your calendar. And when the day comes, your only job is to show up and to be there. Be present. Don't even have to have the best workout or whatever the case may be. Just walk through the doors, practice that move that's a Zoe was talking about, or walk on the treadmill, pick up a light dumbbell, whatever you are feeling like you want to do on that day. And the goal is not performance, it's the act of keeping that first promise that you made to yourself, and that was to show up. And you are making your first confidence deposit.
That sounds amazing. And
Mm.
third and final step is to embrace being a beginner. I know this is so intimidating and such a controversial thing to say because
Mm.
everybody wants to skip the beginner phase. Everybody wants to go straight to being an expert, and we
Mm.
see this with our clients all the time. Some
Mm.
of them can barely lunge properly, but they're worried about why we are on the functional floor and not downstairs in the weights
Mm.
area. Allow yourself the time. This is the biggest mental hurdle. You're going to feel awkward. You're going to feel like every single body in the gym is watching you. They are not. You won't be the strongest person there, and that's okay. Main character energy isn't about being perfect, it's about being brave enough to start. It's
Mm.
having the courage to be bad at something on your way to becoming good at it. Give yourself
Mm.
permission to be new. Every single person in that weight room started exactly where you are. Your first scene isn't about lifting heavy, it's about being brave enough to lift, period.
Mm. 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 And we know that for such a long time, we have been told that confidence comes from the outside. Confidence comes from the way we look. Confidence comes from our job title, our social status, the pretty things that we have. But that's a fragile, fleeting kind of confidence. Sure, it gives you confidence, but it's not something that can last. And the truth is that unshakable confidence is the kind that gives you permission to show up as that main character, not because it's given, it is forged.
And it's forged in the quiet moments of discipline and in the discomfort of pushing past your limits. It's forged in the fire of voluntary hardship, one rep at a time.
Mm.
Lifting weights isn't just a physical activity, it is a declaration of intent. It's a
Mm.
practical method for teaching yourself that you are powerful, you are capable, and you are in control.
100%. And the strength that you build in the gym does not stay there. It comes with you, honey. It's in your bag. When you leave the gym, that confidence is going to come with you. It seeps
Yeah.
into every single corner of your life, giving you fortitude to set those boundaries, to speak your mind, and build a life that is authentically yours. So, reminder, stop being a background character in your own life, because it is time to pick up the pen and the weights and start writing your own story. You know, this morning I went cycling and I was convinced that I was going to die. I was like, I haven't been on the
Why?
bike, because I haven't
Oh,
been on the bike in like 5 months. And here we are on the cycling track, and we're in a group and we're doing drafting and, playing with the gears, going up the hills and sprints and stuff. And I was like, oh my word, I can do this. But I was so freaked out.
yeah.
And it got to this point in the ride where my quads were on absolute fire. And I had to tell myself, you can do this, Donaé. Your
Yeah.
legs are strong. Like, you push weight on the leg press.
Yeah.
Your legs are strong. I'm like, you can do
Yeah.
this. And for about 10 minutes, I was like coaching myself. And then when I made it to the end, I felt so amazing. And I was like, that's it. I'm the main character. What do you mean? I'm the main
Yeah.
character. I
Yeah.
just made it. And
Yeah.
because I push myself in the gym, I was able to push myself outside of the gym
Yes.
as well. And it's
Yes.
not just something that was because it's physical activity, but because of anything. You could be playing with
Yeah.
your kids and feeling tired, and then you remember, but I pushed myself in the gym. I can run with my kid today.
Yeah.
It's nothing. Or whatever the case may be, that confidence goes with you. And you need to actually allow yourself to carry it and not
Yeah.
leave it on the gym floor, because some of us leave it in the gym and we're like, this is the only place where we feel confident. But everywhere
Yeah.
else in our life, we don't. Honey, take it with you. It is your
For
choice.
sure.
is your right. Take it with you.
Yeah.
It's yours. You're the main character,
Yes.
you know?
Yeah,
Mm.
I'm just thinking about what you said now about coaching yourself and past that point and actually getting to the end and then looking back and
Mm.
thinking, oh my word. And I just think about my one client was like, we were doing lat pull downs and she was like asking me like, oh, does she really have to do this? She doesn't want to have a big back. We were having that conversation. And then I
Mm.
said, yes, you really have to do this because you're not going to get a big back from this. But secondly, what if you're hanging off the side of a mountain and can't hold onto yourself? You
Mm.
need strong lats to hold onto the mountain,
Yes,
so
man.
to wait for the rescue team. So, honey, hold onto the mountain, coach yourself to the end, talk to yourself, get in your own
Mm.
head and be like, listen, we are doing this. We are doing this. Either you coming with
Yeah.
me or I'm doing it on my own. And then I know you're going to follow afterwards. But that's why action is so important. So
Mm.
comment down below with one thing that you are going to do this week to start owning your own story. One small action. You're going to plank for 30 seconds or 15 seconds. You're going to squat hold for 15 seconds or 30 seconds. It doesn't have to be something big, but it has to be, like we've spoken about in the habits chapter, something that reaffirms the action. That is the first
Mm.
step. If you
Mm.
enjoyed this episode, subscribe to Giggles and Glutes because we will be bringing you more and more topics just like this one. We'll see you next time. Bye.
Bye.